Okay, this is the last problem I'm going to do for the quiz. So I basically did the evens for you. If you would, you also need to work on the odds. The answers are in the back of the book. If you're having problems with why an answer came out the way it did, you can see me or ask me during class before the quiz. So you can ask me on Tuesday or Wednesday. Or you can come to me for tutorials. I'm in the library before and after school. The first thing we need to find, just like we did on 68, is we need to find sine of alpha and cosine of alpha. And we also need to find cosine of beta. Whoops, let me put sine first. Sine of beta and cosine of beta. On both of these, I don't have my R. So if you look at this, and we use the Pythagorean Theorem, basically these are kind of the same. They just got switched around with the X and the Y, but the R is going to be the same because it doesn't matter. You're going to have 1 squared, or negative 1 squared, plus 2 squared equals R squared. So basically 5 equals R squared. Therefore R equals square root of 5. R is always positive. So what we have to determine for tangent is, since alpha here belongs to quadrant 2, does the negative go with the 2, the y, or the x? Yes, it goes with the x, because x is negative in quadrant 2. So when you're doing this, make sure you keep this straight. Now in this case, it's basically the same thing. Beta is also in quadrant 2. So the negative here goes with my x, which in this case would be in the numerator. And then you just fill it out. We know that sine equals y over r. For alpha, that's going to be 2 over root 5, which equals 2 root 5 over 5. Cosine is going to be x over, for alpha, is x, which is negative 1 over root 5, which just equals negative root 5 over 5. Now for beta, it just gets switched. So sine of beta is root 5 over 5, and cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5. Okay, I'm going to stop the video so I can write this down, and then I will continue so I can fill out the rest. Okay, again, make sure you copy these down so we can fill out the formulas. Next, first thing we're going to do is find sum and difference for sine. And we're going to put them together. Sine of alpha plus or minus beta equals sine of alpha, cosine of beta, plus or minus cosine of alpha, sine of beta. And then I'm going to look at my piece of paper that I wrote down. I have sine of alpha is 2 root 5 over 5. Cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5. Cosine of alpha is negative root 5 over 5. And cosine of beta is positive root 5 over 5. So the numerator here is going to be negative 4 times 5 is negative 20 over 25, plus or minus, and this is going to be negative 5 over 25. So sine of alpha plus beta is going to equal negative 25 over 25, which equals negative 1. And sine of alpha minus beta is going to equal negative 15 over 25. If you reduce that by 5, you get negative 3 over 5. Okay, now you need to write those down. Let's see what happens with cosine. So we have cosine of alpha plus or minus beta equals cosine of alpha, cosine of beta, minus plus sine of alpha, sine of beta. I'm just going to substitute the information I wrote down. Cosine of alpha is negative root 5 over 5. And cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5. Minus plus sine of alpha is 2 root 5 over 5. And sine of beta is root 5 over 5. So we get, this doesn't look nice here, I'll fix that. So that's going to be positive 2 times 5 is 10 over 5 minus 10 minus plus 10 over 25. Let me do that again. So this is going to be 2 times 5 over 25 minus plus 2 times 5 over 25. So we have 10 over 25 minus plus 10 over 25. So cosine of alpha plus beta equals 0. And sine of alpha, sorry, I'm going to stop this. Okay, so we have that cosine of alpha plus beta equals 0, and we also have cosine of alpha minus beta equals 20 over 25, which equals 4/5. Now, you need to write these down, and when you write these down, you're going to get cosine of alpha plus beta is 0, and cosine of alpha minus beta is 4 over 5. So, now we have to do tan of alpha plus beta. When you do alpha plus beta, you're going to get negative 1 over 0, which means it's undefined. And tan of alpha minus beta equals negative 3/5 over 4/5, which equals negative 3/4. Okay. The next ones we're going to do are sine of 2 beta, cosine of 2 beta, and tan of 2 beta. Sine of 2 beta equals 2 sine of beta, cosine of beta. Cosine of 2 beta, I'm going to use cosine squared of theta minus sine squared of theta. And for tan of 2 beta, I'm just going to divide these two up. So I'm going to do for this one, do ret. I'm going to do 2. Sine of beta is root 5 over 5. And cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5. And that gives you negative 20 over 25, which is negative 4/5. And then we're just going to square it out. For this one, I'm going to get negative 2 root 5 over 5 squared minus root 5 over 5 squared, which gives me 20 over 25 minus 5 over 25, which gives me 15 over 25. And if I divide by 5, I get, which equals 3/5. So for tan of 2 beta, I'm just going to divide sine, which is this one, negative 4/5 over my cosine, or this one actually, 3/5, which equals negative 4/3. I mean 4/5, right? Nope. 4/3. Because these two cancel out. Okay. The last set is your half angles, and what quadrant are we in? I'm going to go back and look because I skipped and did something. We're both in quadrant 2, so when we do the half angles, we're going to be in quadrant 1, which makes it nice. Means we don't have to, they're both positive. So we're first going to do sine of alpha over 2. Since they're both going to be positive, that's going to be 1 minus cosine of alpha over 2, which equals 1 minus cosine of alpha is negative root 5 over 5 over 2. And this equals 5 plus root 5 over 10, because I'm multiplying these two. Leave it like that. And then we have cosine of beta over 2, which equals, it's going to be positive because we're in quadrant 1, 1 plus cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5 all over 2, which is going to give us 5 minus 2 root 5 over 10 square root. So there's your two answers there. Going a little faster on 70 because I've done 5 now, and I think if you've done all 10 of these, this should be very easy for you. The last one is tan of alpha over, or beta over 2, which equals 1 minus cosine of beta over sine of beta. So this is 1 minus cosine of beta is negative 2 root 5 over 5. And sine of beta is root 5 over 5. This equals 5 plus 2 root 5 over 5 over root 5 over 5. Whoops, I messed up. End of the night. Okay, over 5. All over root 5 over 5. We're going to delete these two, and I'm going to start moving over in this area. So 5 plus 2 root 5 over root 5. You're going to rationalize the denominator. Some of you might have found better ways to do this. That's fine. And the bottom, the denominator is just going to be 5, and we're going to get 5 root 5 plus 2. When you multiply these two, you get 10. When you simplify it, you let me simplify it easier here. So it's 5 root 5 over 5 plus 10 over 5, which equals root 5 plus 2. And you are done.